So let's talk about body shape. Often we talk about body shape in terms of flesh and we ignore the skeleton. But the skeleton is really important for how your clothes fit. If you don't have a well-fitting rectangular prototype, it's highly likely that you don't have this body type. If we look at the skeletons, excuse my sketching, look at the height on this lady between the top of her pelvis and her ribs. We notice that her ribs angle in slightly, and this allows her to have this whooping little waist. There's sufficient height there for her waist to swoop in. This one, okay, a little over exaggerated, I am sketching here, but the height of the pelvis is really important to note. If you have a high pelvis and your ribs don't taper in, so they're more boxy, look at this amount of room. Your waist is going to go, there's no long gap for your waist to swoop into. That's why the rectangular waistband works very well on this skeleton. As you can see, it's going to sit over here. Perfect rectangular sitting place. This is my little skirt. On this lady, if she were to do a rectangle, it's going to gape at the waist. She needs to nip it in because she's got not a rectangle shape here. She's got a more nipped in shape. So if you are more this type and less this type, follow along and I'll show you how to make the adaptations. Right, the Soft Jersey Waistband for a nipped in waist. I'm just using our basic rectangle. You will need to find this measurement, so your top measurement of your waist. You can do that with the wrap and measure method, or you can do it with the mathematical method that I have in another tutorial. Let's say that I had 80 for this length. Obviously it's half because we've cut this in half. So that's 40. And then let's say your waist was only 70 full. So half of that is 35. To make that perfectly equidistant, we do a centre fold. We do half of 35, which is 17 and a half. We mark that point. Same again, 17 and a half. And then we simply taper in our sides. Now, instead of having a fold, you're going to have two side seams. So no longer centre back, two side seams. Would look a little strange to have your seams at centre front and centre back, so we're going to make them as side seams. When you cut it out, you might want to factor in a little bit of allowance, just a little bit of wriggle room, so that you can also take it in if you need it more. You can never let something out if you haven't cut it big enough. So factor in some contingency if you're at all concerned. We'll get to how this can be sewn in a little while. Essentially, you're going to end up, that's going to be folded. Your full cut of fabric is going to end up looking like this. It doesn't look like a rectangle anymore. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be joining two of these up together. And we'll have to sew to that fold line pivot the material on your needle. I will show you that. And down. So your vertical seam is not vertical. Yours nips in to your waist. On our folded fabric, put your pattern on. We're going to cut 2 out. They are the same size actually. It was a funny camera angle. Opened out, they look like this with the nipped in waist shape. Put them right sides together. So my wrong sides are white. Peg or pin down the vertical sides. And then get a ruler, put it across the center at the top of the fold, and mark on each side where that top fold is. This is going to help your sewing. Now when we take it to the sewing machine, remember to tuck your tails away, start and end with a back stitch. I've lined it up with my presser foot to keep it straight. If you have more allowance, then of course you line it up with the other 2 grooves, either which. As you approach that top fold, where the fold is going to be, marked by that nice fabric marker, take your hand wheel and slowly stitch with your hand wheel until you have hit the marker. Hopefully this doesn't make you dizzy. I'm just going to zoom in so that you can see, I hope, that the needle has plunged right into the center of the mark. Keep the needle down. And then we're going to pivot our fabric. So lift the presser foot, turn the fabric on the needle, line it up again with whichever groove or presser foot you're using, and off we go again for the rest of that seam. I am using a straight stitch as per the rectangular pattern, because once again my vertical stretch on this material is very slight. And again, remember to end with your back stitch. Lift up, pull through, and snip. When you've sewn both side seams, it's going to look like this, coming in and out. That's your folded top, and we're going to fold it. Keep your seams together. Your shape should show a waist that comes in. And there we have it, a nipped in waistband pattern and prototype for all you girls who've got a swooping little waist. Now if you're a guy, you're probably going to be using the rectangular pattern like I do. Stay tuned for next time, where we're actually going to attach our waistband to our garment. And until then, have a really comfy life.